So let's talk a little bit about privileges and who can see what. I'm going to right click on my connection. I'm going to go down here to administration, click administer database. Wait, is this right? No, this is not right. I'm sorry. Click the wrong thing. Let's dismiss that. All right, we're going to right click on this table. Click on manage, click on privileges. You'll notice that at this point, no one has privileges to see this thing, right? So you can't select from it, you can't insert, you can't update, whatever. The only person who can see it now is the owner of the database, who is BMR owner, obviously. So we're going to be using this to grant privileges to other users to be able to see and manipulate the data. All right, let's go ahead and create ourselves what we're going to call a role. Now, what a role is it's just a group that you create and you can assign to different users. And users can have many roles, and a role can have many users. And that way, if you create a role, then if you come back later sometime and you create a new user, you can just add him to the role. You don't have to go through and make sure that he has all of the separate privileges. As you do this and your database grows, there may be sections of it you want here and sections of it you want available to so forth. So for example, you may want the parks people to see some data that you don't want the community planning people to see. Parks has irrigation plans, right? Maybe you want both parks and utilities people to be able to see those irrigation plans. Well, you could create a role and then add both parks and utilities people to it, and you don't necessarily know the individual people. As you add new people, you can add them to the role. So let's create ourselves a role, and hopefully this will become apparent to you later. Role. Create role. And we are going to call this, let's see, database connection. We want this to be BMR owner. And the role we're going to create, or we're just going to call it editor. You know what? Let's call it viewer. Viewer, right? Oh, I believe I picked the wrong connection. I think we have to be SDE to create a role. Yes. Okay, so you have to be SDE to create the actual role. All right, and now when I go to manage and privileges, if I click on add, I can tell it editor is able to see this. Now obviously there are no editors yet, but we're going to create some. You know what? I realized that was not what we just created. We created, let's see, I'm going to, and by doing this I've basically said you can't do anything. It was viewer we just created, and by default select comes on. That means that they can actually see it. I don't know that we can actually delete any of these things. Click OK. I think is, yeah, because we unchecked everything, it no longer shows up. So viewers should be able to see this table. Any person in the user group called viewer.